Good morning, Tom. How are you doing?
Good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you too. Friday is always a good day.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, by the way, for taking the time to be here today. It's so nice to be able to get to know you a little bit more and talk to you.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking.
If you could please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do, who you are, that would be great.
Okay. My name is Tom Scharstein. I'm a person who stutters. I currently live in South Florida. Uh, I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's in the Midwest section of the United States. So I am from a four season part of the world, and I do not miss snow at all. So the crazy thing is that people that live down in Florida uh, go north to experience the snow. And, and I tell people down here that if I never see another snowflake again in my life, I'll be happy.
I know that.
So I feel very blessed to be where I am now. Um, Lisa and I love to paddle. We go paddle boarding, we go kayaking, we go all around Florida because there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to do that down here. So that's what we're into now. I also do uh, mountain biking. Uh, Florida people call uh, mountain biking just these flat gravel trails. They put their helmets on and gloves and mountain biking gear, and the trails are all flat. So I also do Florida mountain biking.
That sounds fun. Sounds
Yeah,
really cool. When did you start stuttering and how did the stuttering impact your life?
stuttering has affected every decision I have ever made um, until the last half of my life. Um, if if I considered standing up and walking to the water fountain, I would automatically think, will someone stop me? Will I have to talk? It affected every part of my life. It ruled my life. I really couldn't get away from. I was I didn't want to stutter. See, so I would avoid, or I would hold back on every situation that I thought that I would potentially have to talk and stutter. I wanted to talk, but I didn't want to stutter. So that was just about the first half of my life. I'm 56 now, and I didn't really experience my awakening until my late 20s. And uh, I got to the point where I realized, well, um, if I keep waiting on fluency, uh, I'm going to miss out on life. There's all these things that I wanted to do that I was waiting until I became fluent. So if um, I wanted to take scuba lessons. I wouldn't do it because I'd have to talk in class. I would have to introduce myself. So I would just hold back on all this stuff. And I just think I got tired of waiting.
Was there a turning point in your life, something that happened that changed your like perspective on stuttering and helped you better deal with it, or it was just a combination of things that came to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm tired of living like that?
My father stuttered, but I only heard him stutter a couple times in my entire life. He just wouldn't talk. My mom would make us phone calls. She she would do the activities in life that required talking. He always told me, not to put any pressure on myself with speaking. To just to take it easy, Tom. Uh, just don't talk. So up until my late 20s, that was my only stuttering influence. Then then I got this new thing called a home computer, and it was about this big, sat on a table. So you had to do something called dial-up internet, where you would choose from several phone calls and 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 call the number, wait to be hooked up to the internet. So about 20 minutes later, you're on the internet. I did an AOL search for stuttering, and I found the stuttering homepage that was set up by Judy Custer. And so that was my first experience with stuttering support. I had really never met any other person who stuttered that was dynamic, that would um, just charge through life, even though they stuttered, that were just fearless. And all of a sudden, I'm in the stuttering community, and I am meeting people that would just go for it. That didn't matter whether they stuttered or not. I mean, they were just like living life to the fullest. I was just blown away. Uh, Here's something that I didn't want to do, that I wanted to hide, because um, I thought that stuttering was weak, and I saw living examples of people that were just had amazing lives. And I realized, I saw for myself that stuttering is not weakness. It's just part of who we are.
Yeah. Do you think in any way stuttering for some time did not allow you to get to know who you really are, in the sense of you wanted to talk and maybe you had a more extrovert personality, but you were not sure because of like stuttering, you started to not talk so much as a teenager, probably as a young adult. um do you feel that like your personality, like did you know exactly your personality and you knew it was only like stuttering that was holding you back, or at some point you didn't even know if it was like stuttering, or if you were an introvert, if you really didn't like talking that much? Did you have that kind of feeling that you didn't even know who you were in that sense?
It's a great question. The perception of me during my younger life was that I'm quiet, that I'm shy, that 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 I am I, I'm passive. I am non assertive. But the reality is that I probably talk a little too much. That I will speak up if the situation calls for it, and I enjoy meeting new people. I I actually enjoy public speaking. I've been part of Toastmasters for a long time, and I really enjoy it, especially the speaking competitions. So when stuttering ruled my life, yeah, there would have definitely been a different perception of me, and the real me was trapped inside. It came to the point where I realized that my life should be based on two questions. Would I say this if I didn't stutter? And would I do this if I didn't stutter? So if the answer became yes, then I would say or I would do it.
Mm.
So uh, those were my uh, uh, most impactful revelations.
Yeah, that's a good way, I think, of trying to measure, like, if you're really holding back because of like stuttering, or if you are going for it. And I know that you are heavily involved in supporting the stuttering community. So how did it happen, and why did you decide to become, involved in it? And do you have any projects coming up to support the stuttering community?
Oh yeah, yeah. I I realized that my my give back, the way to help others, was to become involved in stuttering support. Um, we have a different type of a cause, so it's not like a something that happened, then we create something that memorializes this cause. I mean, we have like an active cause. People who stutter deal with this every minute of every day, and there, for me personally, there's not a greater purpose in life than helping people that stutter. It it just it, really keeps me motivated. It's um, uh, such a wonderful community to be involved with, and I've got all these friends from around the world now that we share this common bond. I look at other people in my life, and so similar career paths and and similar position in life, and think, look what I have. I mean, I'm so blessed that I'm part of this community. I mean, it's such an amazing thing to be part of. I go to conferences, national conference, international conference, and I've got friends there. I mean, uh, good friends, just because of stuttering. And um, and what uh, so what really motivates me are the kids. Um, I believe that we can absolutely change the future. We can change their childhoods. We can make this not the horrible experience that we live through. That we can make it easier for them. That we can make it better.
Yeah.
We may never get rid of stuttering, but we can certainly make lives better, easier. Um, I I'm part of something called the World Stuttering Network now, and the concept is to bring the stuttering support group leaders of the world together in an ongoing conversation so we can share ideas. We can share ways that, that really work for stuttering support groups. So the whole idea is that people stay where they are. So if you're STAMA support group leader, you stay a STAMA support group leader. We're just having a conversation. We're putting our brains together to try to figure out how to do this best. I am very honored to serve as the chair right now, and the board that has been assembled is just I just sit back in awe and just so thankful for the people that are part of the board. I mean, everyone is just fired up and just excited, dynamic, and just real world changers. So I feel very very grateful to be part of what's going on. So our newest thing is called the Human Library, and we're going to have that on International Stuttering Awareness Day of October 22nd. So the concept is instead of reading a bunch of blogs, to actually meet the person. So you can go from breakout room to breakout room and meet these people as they share their story. It's something that we're very excited about. It's our first collaboration with Stanley and the Stuttering Scholarship Alliance. So I've got to meet their boards, and I'm just like, wow. I mean, the worldwide stuttering community is just awesome.
That's amazing. That's really, really interesting. And I think we need more people like you, we need more people supporting the community and trying to bring us together, because many times we grew up without knowing other people who go through the same challenges. We think it's just us. And then suddenly you're able to meet other people who go through similar experiences and challenges, and then makes you realize that you can do it. And from your experience in the stuttering support community, what are the key things that can truly help people who stutter in a practical way, and why?
I think that the essence of stuttering support is to get people who stutter talking, whether we stutter or not. If we begin to express ourselves in whatever way we feel comfortable with, when we're no longer holding back because of stuttering, then stuttering loses its power on us. It loses its power on our life, and we get to watch the shame and the embarrassment and the guilt begin to fade. I think that from my personal experience, that the confidence had everything to do with releasing stuttering's grip. Because when I began to build confidence, when I began to feel confident, then I would do what I wanted to do, and I would say what I wanted to say, and I thought less and less about stuttering, and it just opened my world. I mean, I experienced this freedom. I think that if people who stutter get to that point as a whole, that I think that would be an awesome thing. There are so many people of that are already there, and and just uh, just if we can build confidence in these kids, uh, that's how we're going to make a difference. So uh, that's what my area um, of focus is lasered in on. Is is just really um, building confidence and and talking about how to um, how to man so there's just so much uh, I I I don't want to make this a all day interview, but I certainly could. So to capsulize this, it's just about confidence and building confidence.
How do you build confidence?
My experience is that fear destroys confidence. That fear will not let you even start to build confidence. So you just uh, my observation was that the people that that I thought were confident, that were naturally confident, that just somehow had this, they they practiced it every day. It, and it takes a little bit of courage to take that first step. Then once you take that first step, we have a little bit of confidence, and that inspires you to take courage to take that next step until all of a sudden you're taking leaps. So the first step might be ordering a drink at a drive-through, might be answering the phone, which might be giant leaps to some people. So it might be a smaller step, but it's to destroy the fear. So for me, it was action. It was taking action, either doing something, saying something. Just I had to create movement.
Mhm.
It, and I was scared to death. I mean, I, I had all this fear. What would the other person think of me if they heard me stutter? And then I realized, what wasn't that bad? Uh, so they chuckled a little bit. Well, I'm still alive. I made it through, and all of a sudden I was that became part of my uh, daily life. That I wasn't afraid of doing it anymore. So I started answering the telephone. I started to order for myself at a restaurant because I knew that I could do it. Because even though I was scared to death, the first couple times, I still did it. I made it, and I had the confidence that I could do it. Till one day I found myself leading business meetings, and, and that's something that I never thought that I could ever do. You know, I would sit at the other end of the table and hope that no one asked for for my numbers, or I would just sit back and just smile. It, it, then so I got to the point after taking all these small steps that I started leaping, and uh, so for me, confidence is something that I have to work on every single day, because so if I start holding back even just a little bit, uh, confidence is always moving forward. So I have to keep up with it. Confidence is like a muscle. I talked to a gentleman from New York. I can't remember his name, but he talks about how how building confidence is just like building muscle. You use it or you lose it. And he is, so from my experience, he's absolutely right. So I hope I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
No, yeah, it's true. I think confidence is a lot about like, doing things that will build the confidence. But yeah, it's great. It's great. And if you could go back in time, what would you tell the 10-year-old Tom?
I would tell the 10-year-old Tom, everything's going to turn out pretty cool. The 10-year-old Tom looked at a bleak life that he was made fun of at school just about every day. You know, of course, times were a lot different then. It'd be because teachers would even laugh at you. So nowadays, if a child took out their phone, video recorded their teacher making fun of them, uploaded it to YouTube, it would go viral and it would change a lot. Times were a lot different back then, but the 10-year-old Tom looked at life uh, uh, with a lot of pessimism and without hope. But I would tell the 10-year-old Tom, yeah, um, life's going to be pretty awesome.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm sure the 10-year-old Tom would have been very happy to hear that. And maybe that would also help building confidence. Like, okay, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what piece of advice would you give to people who stutter?
That we can either live in the safety of silence, which is not as much fun as as taking action, even though we are scared to death. Um, that doesn't last. So if we start to take action, that if we start saying the things that we want, start doing the things that we want to do, that's when life really begins for us. And and we deserve to live our best life. So when stuttering doesn't have a hold on us, that's when that happens. We may always stutter. We may never get rid of this weird thing that we do called stuttering, because that's what I tell people. I'm like, when they ask me to explain stuttering, I tell them, well, just imagine yourself, and there's really nothing wrong with you, but you just do this weird thing where all of a sudden you just can't say this sound and you can't say this word. That's what stuttering is. But on top of that, you know, you have this whole lifetime of worrying about what other people think. You have been mocked, ridiculed. You know, you've got all this stuff that comes with stuttering. You know, so it's not just this little thing. But yeah, just uh, we deserve to live our best life. We're not less than others. We're just as normal as anyone else. We're uh, just as screwed up as everybody else is. So just start to take action.
I think we focus way too much on how we speak. And then because we have to speak every day, that means that we worry 24/7 about how we are speaking, what are people thinking of us, how are they perceiving us and all this. And it's very tiring, it drains us from, everything. Yeah, energy. And so it's a good message, and it's very encouraging. Thank you so much.
Sure, sure. And speaking of what other people think of us, it was a real turning point when I took the people that were important to me, and I asked them, what did they think about my stuttering? Because it tended to be something that we never talked about. So I just straightforward asked them, what do you think of my stutter? I mean, I would ask that of my close friends, my uh, business associates, people that I had uh, regular communication with. And I was really surprised at what they what they told me, because most people said, well, uh, uh, I only noticed it when we first met. I really don't pay attention to it uh, anymore. And here I thought that every time we talk, every time I stutter, they, this huge thing happened, and they weren't really paying attention to it anymore. I mean, they were more uh, uh, they were focused on me. They were focused on what I was saying and not how I was saying it. So that's one thing that I would definitely encourage people to do, is to just ask those people that are important to you. What do you think about my stutter? You might be like I was, very surprised happily surprised at the responses.
It's so interesting that you're saying this, because I had a similar actually experience when I started telling my closest friends, like, oh, I have this speech impediment. First of all, I went to talk to them, like, and I was so nervous because it was a topic that I wasn't used to talking about. It was a secret, like something that I
Yeah.
didn't talk about. And it was so funny because once I told them, they're like, I never even realized you have a speech impediment. I was like, what? And
Exactly.
me like
Exactly. Yeah.
overthinking, like, oh my gosh, now I just blocked. Oh my God, what is my friend thinking? Like, never even realized. I was like, oh damn it, I have been stuck so long for nothing.
Yeah. There's something special about people who stutter. So the world stuttering community, there, there's something very special about this. I mean, there's all this energy. So we're glad that you're part of us, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Tom, I know that you probably have your work to do, your things, so I'm not gonna take more of your time, but I just really, really wanted to thank you again for accepting my random invitation to be here today. Out
My
of
pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking the time. It was a pleasure to talk to you, to get to know more about your work and everything that you're doing for the stuttering community. So thank you for all of your contribution. It's really, really great. Thank you.
Well, I heard a phrase a few years ago that really stuck with me. When it comes to volunteer work, if it ain't fun, it ain't worth it. So we're just having fun.
True story. That's great. Well, I wish you an amazing day, a great weekend. I hope you're going to enjoy it, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Bye bye, Tom.
Okay, we'll see you.